take Trusty, and that is the end
And
of the
there it
game
is.
of Maidstone United's first league win at the Gallagher Stadium this season. Won a couple of cup games. It finished Maidstone United 1, Hemel Hempstead 0. A hard-fought game. Maidstone had a lot of the first half and should have been over the hill and far away by then. Gave Hemel the opportunity of coming back into it. It finished 1-0, and Maidstone United onwards and upwards. Certainly the first half, the performance was as good as anything we've seen all season. Second half, the kickback from Hemel, and just managed to keep them out. So and created a couple of chances. Don't forget, Benton should have made it 2-0.
Oh yeah, I mean,
and Ben Brooks on the crossbar. It's the same story. Tons of chances, but this time it's finished Maidstone United 1, Hemel Hempstead 0.
but then you're saying that as well. In that second half, they did have a lot more of the ball, Hemel Hempstead, but did they really test the Maidstone back line? There's a few back to the wall defending there as we went into injury time, but I think generally over the course of the game, the Maidstone back line, and don't forget it's a back line that's without George Fowler. He's missing, so that's just aligns that balance a little bit. And I thought Temi Ueka and Reece Greenwich did really well at the back there. Do you know what I mean? And it was like, if you keep clean sheets and you score goals, you're always going to get the points, isn't you? But that's just been Maidstone's undoing in these last few weeks, isn't it? As it got into that last 10 minutes of time there, you sort of
start worrying.
Yeah, you do. You see history repeat itself. But looking back on it now, they managed the game really well, didn't they? They just like a little bit of time wasted here and there when they can, making the substitutions at the right time, holding the ball down in play down there, and just So yeah, they managed that game. I think you can see as well now the patterns of play. We followed on from Slough last week. We had a lot of the ball last week against Slough. It was only that mistake that we really made that gave Slough that chance, wasn't it?
Well, the only thing that's between us and any team in the league is a little bit of confidence, which hopefully this will engender, and sticking the ball in the back of the net more regularly.
Yeah, exactly that. And again, it's good to see that we are. Blair didn't score today, but he has been on a little bit of a streak recently, and Benton getting his goal today. Papadopoulos has got a goal as well for the club. So that's all going to sort of, like you say, breed that confidence, isn't it? You can't just rely on. Yes, Blair's our main goal scorer, but you can't rely on him every day, cause every game. If he ever has an off game, others have got to step up to the plate, haven't they? So,
we've still got a lot to see from Shaq Coulthurst.
Yeah, exactly. You got on there with 5 minutes to go and did his normal running around and adding to the calls for the team. But again, it's good signs, isn't it? You've missed an influential player like George Fowler, still kept a clean sheet against a team that's fourth in the table at the beginning of the day. All right, we said that they didn't show a lot in that first half and maybe showed a little bit more in the second half, but they are fourth in the table, and that doesn't lie, does it? So you still got most teams that we're playing now, because of the indifferent start that we've had, are above us. So we've always got and also you've got that effect that we've mentioned many times. Teams are going to come here. This is a good game for them. They can. If you're not up for a game at the Gallagher Stadium in front of a 2,000 plus crowd, you're never going to be up for a game, are you? So that's
Absolutely.
that little bit of extra pressure that Maidstone face every day, and a lot of these new players have got to adjust to that, and I think they're gradually starting to do that and form their own patterns. I mean, some of that football we saw in the first half, like you say, was like worth its entrance money alone, wasn't it? There were some nice little patterns of play, and
that's as well as we've played all season.
Yeah, exactly. And there was a passage of play halfway through that first half where we were switching the ball, good first touch, good speed, and just that small detail when it came into Blair, it was just behind him. He just couldn't get his shot off, but it would have been a great goal if it had gone in. Goal of the season contender, just for the fact that it sort of the build-up play alone was worth its entrance fee, as I say, but. You can see now that we're starting to, inflict our sort of DNA on the games, aren't we? And
well, we've managed to. I mean, the first thing to do is realise who you are yourselves, and we're actually managing to do that. We know who we are, what we can do.
Exactly that.
So and now it's time to go and do that. And certainly while we're in the sort of league position that we're in. teams would look at us. I mean, like the mistake that Ebbsfleet made. They must have looked at us and a little bit said, well, they can't be much because they're down near the bottom of National League South. We are much. There are problems, or there were problems, but we're getting round those. And today is another big step towards that. You know, I mean, maybe if all the times we've hit the woodwork in the past 2 weeks had actually been half an inch lower, we wouldn't be talking in this fashion now. We'd be talking about the corner definitely having been turned. But there you go. But the point is, and hopefully nobody from Solihull is listening by now, they will have turned off, but if anyone from Solihull was listening, of course, at all. But if they are, then, you know, hopefully they will underestimate us as well, because, you know, and it pervades around a stadium, and some of the players will do that. It's kind of like, yeah, all right, it's the cup, it's the first round, we've got to try our hardest, we want to get forward and all the rest of it, because they want to do that as well. But just that little bit of in their head just not quite getting there because they think it's going to be easy. And I'll tell you what, it won't be.
No, I don't think so. I think you know, having a look at the Solihull team and the way they play, I think you know, it's another, they sort of play against like the way that Worthing do, that sort of expansive sort of way. They've got good players on the ball. Our game sort of seems to set up against that. I think we've now got players, you know, what we've struggled with this season is teams trying to break teams down. Do you know what I mean? Teams that come and sit in low block and just try and defend and stick with what you've got, kind of thing, rather than attack. Whereas Solihull are going to be at home in the first round in the FA Cup. You know, there's no doubt they're a good side. They made the playoff final last year. You know, they made the trophy final last year. You know, they've got good players in their team, but there's going to be a certain expectation on them from that fan base.
And don't forget, there are no replays.
Exactly that. It's going to be on the day, and it's not as if it's like they're not playing a part-time team as such. I know we've got a different sort of like the hybrid model of training, but we do have daytime training. We've got a clear. I know we've got the Kent Cup game, but we have, you know, got a week now to prepare for Solihull. We know their game plans. We know what their setup's going to be. We know their routines that they do. We can work on our dead ball routines, and you know, it's all set up for a good game, I think. You know. And
it's that little bit of luck, but you know, going back to today, looking down the Maidstone lineup, you can safely say that everybody who made it onto the pitch obviously was good. Maybe you could say Aaron Blair had a little bit of a game that's quieter than normal throughout it, but even then, you know, one just ever so slightly heavy touch away from belting the ball into the back of the goal. It just allowed Ajay time to make himself big, and even then hit him on the body and go out. So it was, you know, even having said what I said, he was good. So you know, you go back, Tate Trusty and Sam Corn in the middle.
Yeah,
the back two. Yeah. Ben Brooks and Charlie Seaman doing their work, but actually having more defensive responsibilities as well, because we're playing with a back four, not a back three, and showing that we are actually that versatile. You know, looking at everybody, and you know, having Benton probably having his best game in a Stone shirt. Papadopoulos maybe not so much in the first half, but certainly in the second half being actually he was a bit of a threat in the first half, but certainly in the second half as well, and combined well with Brooks. You can look down the team, and everybody did their jobs. Yep. And everybody had a good game. In some ways it's a little bit of a shame it's only 1-0.
Yeah. It is a little bit of shame it's 1-0, because obviously you want to be improving your goal difference, but it's 3 points, isn't it? 3 points is 3 points, whether it's 5-0, 9-0 or 1-0. You know, they all count the same, and you don't, like I said before, you don't get asterisks next to the performance just because it was, you know, pretty passing and that. It's just who puts the ball in the back of the net the most times, and Stones managed to do that today. And like you say, hopefully that, you know, it might have not been as convincing a scoreline as what the game deserved, but it's 3 points at home for the first time this season, and hopefully that will give us the confidence to move on onwards and upwards.
Absolutely, and you know, the manager doing the head scratching in the dressing room tonight won't be George Elokobi, it'll be Bobby Wilkinson. So you have to say, you know, we've got a Kent Senior Cup to defend, and I'm sure George will take that seriously, whatever team he decides to take out. And we've got the first round of the FA Cup, an important week for the Stones, but I would contend that the weeks after that are even more important because we've got a lot of league games to play. And and heading in with the confidence of actually having won today is invaluable.
Absolutely, it really is invaluable. And you know, the next league game will be here at home to Hornchurch on the 9th. So
indeed.
But before that, we've got those, like you say, those tough trips. You know, we've got Dorking away in the league, which is going to be tough in its own right. You know, even as you know, with the poor starts of both teams, you know, Dorking and Maidstone games are notoriously sort of very tough, physical, competitive games. So
we're well capable of getting something there,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
our away form is better than our home form.
Exactly, still unbeaten away from home. So, like you say, let's hope it's a corner turn today, and it's onwards and upwards from here.
So thank you for the teching Nigel and Sean in the background, and there only remains for us to say one thing.
Yes,
Come on, you Stones!